For Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass, trust was central to Good American Family. Although she's one of the most recognizable faces on television, Ellen Pompeo felt as if the team behind Good American Family took a chance on her. For nearly 2 decades, Pompeo starred in Grey's Anatomy as the show's namesake character Meredith Grey. But in 2022, Pompeo announced that she would be scaling back her appearances on the show to work on a new project that would become her first major role outside of the long-running medical drama. Pompeo said she felt pressure to prove she could branch out from the character she had become synonymous with, and that, like her, the creatives of Good American Family took a risk. It took enormous courage and bravery on all their parts, and taking a chance on me. It's a real chance, she said. I haven't done anything in 20 years. I could have effed this up majorly. That chance has come in the form of Hulu's limited series premiering Wednesday that's based on the real-life story of the Barnett family and Natalia Grace, a Ukrainian girl with a rare form of dwarfism. The Indiana family's adoption of Natalia, subsequent abandonment of her, and the charges that followed made headlines across the country, later becoming the subject of the 3-season investigation Discovery docuseries, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, and now Good American Family. In the series, Pompeo stars alongside Mark Duplass, playing Christine and Michael Barnett, the couple who adopted Natalia, played by Imogen Faith Reed. Good American Family is told from different points of view to illustrate the conflicting accounts of what happened between members of the family. For Pompeo, stepping into her first post, Grey's role was daunting, especially when it was a character as complicated as this one. I didn't know if I could do it, she said. I've done the same thing for 20 years. I didn't know if I could do anything else. Why would anybody believe that I could? But Duplass, who said she expressed those worries to him when they first met up to discuss the project over a sushi dinner, helped put her mind at ease. He recalled her asking, "Am I going to be able to do this?" I'm like, "Of course you're gonna be able to do this, but I love that you think you might not, because that makes me feel safe," Duplass said. The jitters over their roles were understandable, considering the complexity of the story of the Barnetts and the daughter they adopted. Christine was convinced that Natalia was an adult posing as a child, and she alleged that Natalia tried to kill members of the family and has called her a sociopath. The Barnetts had her age legally changed to 22, reflecting their assumption that she was an adult, and they left her to live alone in an apartment in 2013 before moving to Canada with their 3 biological children. Natalia denies the Barnetts' allegations and has said in interviews that she was the one being abused. DNA tests taken by Natalia in 2023 point to her birth year being around 2003, making her about 10 years old when she was abandoned. The parents were charged with neglect of a dependent in 2019, and both pleaded not guilty. Michael was acquitted of the charges in 2022, and the charges against Christine were dropped in 2023. She maintains her innocence, but Michael has said in several interviews for the documentary that Christine was a monster, abusing both him and Natalia. Michael filed for divorce from Christine in 2014. Co-showrunners Katie Robbins and Sarah Sutherland said they never doubted Pompeo could deliver a strong performance, while also providing meaningful contributions in her role as an executive producer. We never had to worry about whether or not she could do it, because she was worried about it, said Robbins, who created the series. And that meant that every day she came, having thought about it, having done her homework, working really hard to make sure that she could play this part. And she did, and was such a fantastic creative collaborator. Pompeo and Duplass both admitted they were hesitant to take on dramatized roles of Christine and Michael, 2 people often vilified by the media. It smelled like trouble, 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 Pompeo said. She worried the show could be exploitative, a fear Duplass shared. Both actors are parents too. Pompeo has 2 daughters and a son with her husband, record producer and writer Chris Every. And Duplass has 2 daughters with wife Katie Selton, an actor and filmmaker. I really strongly believe don't put something out just because you can rip it from the headlines and make a buck. And I wasn't saying I was judging it, but I'm just wary of those things, Duplass said. So I was just honestly asking myself, why are we making the show? What's this about? Both actors credited early conversations with Robbins and Sutherland in helping them decide to make the leap, as well as meeting Reed. Her turn as Natalia in the series marks the 27-year-old's first major acting role. She's also a devoted fan of Grey's Anatomy, according to Duplass and Pompeo. Robbins, who created the series, was insistent that the show would not be just another rehashing of the story that's been told through documentaries, podcasts, and other media. With Good American Family, Robbins wanted to pose larger questions about bias, loyalty, and what she calls the elusive nature of truth. To explore those themes, the 8 episodes of the series are split between Christine, Michael, and Natalia's perspectives. Robbins said she and her colleagues hoped this structure would give audiences an opportunity to grapple with their own biases. Duplass said he felt casting him, and Pompeo lent itself to that conversation around questioning who we trust and who we don't, since the 2 of them have long played dependable, well-liked characters. There's a reservoir of trust built up for Ellen and myself because of the years we've spent on screen, subconsciously convincing people that when we speak, we're the voice of reason, he said. We're sort of banking on the history of us being the center of morality, and then that center starts to crumble. For Pompeo, her work on Grey's gave her the gift of knowing how to be present in an instant, after having put in her 10,000 hours, and then some, she said. That gift proved quite useful when tackling the tough subject matter, all while managing her anxiety about what she called having to start from scratch with a new role for the first time in several years. I really needed to see if I could do it, and if I would enjoy it, if I thought it was fun, she said. It was a big test for me. It was a big experiment, but one that was necessary. The co-stars, Pompeo said they had instant chemistry, have talked about collaborating again in the future. We really enjoyed working together and being together, and it's definitely something that I would like to do, said Duplass before Pompeo joked that she'd be appearing in the upcoming season of The Morning Show with him. Pompeo said she doesn't know what's next in this stage of her career, but with good humor, she and Duplass agreed. Let's hope this goes well. Ellen Pompeo and Mark Duplass have always been drawn to projects that challenge the status quo, but neither of them expected that their latest collaboration, Good American Family, would strike such a deep emotional chord. Trust was at the center of everything, on screen and off, guiding the way they approached their roles, their creative process, and their partnership. When the concept of Good American Family first landed on their desks, it was just a rough outline. A drama about a blended, unconventional family navigating the messy, beautiful chaos of modern life. It had the makings of something special. But the execution would require a level of authenticity and nuance that only actors willing to be vulnerable could bring. That's where trust came in. Pompeo, best known for her 19-season tenure on Grey's Anatomy, was eager to sink her teeth into something different, something that would allow her to flex her muscles in a new way. I've played a doctor for almost 2 decades, she said in an interview. But this character, this story, felt so real to me in a different way. I knew it had to be done right. Duplass, whose background in indie filmmaking and improvisational storytelling made him the perfect counterbalance, was immediately intrigued by the raw, unscripted energy of the series. It wasn't about making something polished, he explained. It was about making something truthful. And to do that, you need trust. You need actors who are willing to go there with you, and Ellen was that person from day one. At its core, Good American Family isn't just about family in the traditional sense. It's about the families we choose, the ones we build, and the ones we fight to hold together. Pompeo plays Olivia, a fiercely independent woman who, after years of prioritizing her career, finds herself suddenly responsible for raising her teenage niece and nephew when her estranged sister disappears. Duplass portrays Leo, Olivia's ex-boyfriend turned best friend, who steps in to help her navigate the uncharted waters of unexpected parenthood. The chemistry between Pompeo and Duplass was undeniable from the start. Their easy banter and deep respect for one another's craft set the tone for the entire production. "Mark and I just clicked," Pompeo recalled. "We knew that for this to work, we had to be completely open and honest with each other. No egos, no pretense, just trust."